This is the Dallas Morning News. It's Wednesday, April 9th. Sunny and warmer today in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The high will be 85. Clear skies tonight with a low of 57. Here are today's headlines. Businesses and industry leaders are worried tariffs will become a major headwind for the Texas economy. That's according to data from the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. Appearing at the Electric Reliability Council of Texas's Board of Directors meeting on Tuesday, Dallas Fed's Vice President and Senior Economist Pia Arrhenius delivered a presentation on the state's economic outlook. While job growth has been robust so far in 2025, the employment data is only through February, and real-time surveys of Texas businesses are flashing warning signs as growth is likely to slow further this year. Texas businesses are mostly pessimistic about tariffs, according to a recent Dallas Fed survey, in which more than 320 participants were asked how U.S. trade policy uncertainty and tariffs were impacting their business. A little less than a third of respondents did not answer the question. Meanwhile, 38% said tariffs were having a negative impact, 3% said the impact was positive. 15% were unsure, and 14% said there was no impact. In addition to the levies leading to higher prices, consumption and investment will likely slow or even decline, according to the data. Tax cuts and deregulation could help ease the slowing, however. The initial optimism business leaders had post-election has faded, and economists have revised their forecast down, with inflation expectations rising and consumer confidence falling. Meanwhile, the probability of recession has increased, amplified by growing turmoil in financial markets. In other news, Attorney General Ken Paxton on Tuesday launched a Senate campaign against Republican incumbent John Cornyn, setting up a potentially bruising 2026 primary that could change the face of the Texas GOP. Paxton officially launched his Senate campaign website Tuesday afternoon. The 62-year-old Paxton has teased a run for Senate for nearly 2 years. He has criticized Cornyn on an array of issues, including pushing a 2022 bipartisan compromise on gun safety. And Paxton pointed out that at times, Cornyn has opposed the president. The 73-year-old Cornyn is seeking his fifth term in the Senate. First elected in 2002, he's a former Texas Supreme Court justice and attorney general. He announced his campaign last month with a 2-minute video that fully embraced Trump, whose support could be critical in the March GOP primary. A statement released Tuesday on social media by Cornyn's campaign said, "Ken Paxton is a fraud." Next up, Texas power grid operator ERCOT is projecting an explosion in energy demand over the next 5 years, with peak electricity use more than doubling as new data centers come online around the state. The Electric Reliability Council of Texas on Tuesday updated its projections to show peak electricity demand as high as 218 gigawatts in 2031. The current power demand record, set in August 2023, was 85.5 gigawatts. Energy-hungry data centers are driving the massive increases in ERCOT's long-term estimate, accounting for a whopping 86 gigawatts of demand growth. That's enough electricity to keep the lights on at 21.5 million homes. ERCOT also downplayed the estimate, simultaneously releasing an adjusted estimate that showed power demand would grow, but at a significantly reduced pace. It showed demand hitting 145 gigawatts in 2031, 33% lower. A large part of the demand estimate comes from a law change in 2023 that required ERCOT to count all prospective large-scale power users in demand projections without fully vetting each project. Previously, ERCOT would not count projects in the early stages of development until certain financial commitments were made. The ambiguity in ERCOT's demand projections has led some state lawmakers to file legislation in hopes of getting more accurate demand forecasts. A Senate proposal passed in that chamber on March 19th. And it was a historic collapse for the Dallas Stars last night at the American Airlines Center. The Stars came into the game needing a confidence-building win, and it looked like they were poised to pull one off, entering the third period on Tuesday night and leading 5-2 with a minute to play in the game. But the Canucks reeled off 3 goals to tie it up in the final 60 seconds and then send the game to overtime. And then the Canucks got the game winner less than 4 minutes into the OT period for a stunning 6-5 win. It's the first time in NHL history a team has overcome a 3-goal deficit in the final minute to win. The Stars are back at home against Winnipeg on Thursday. Thanks for listening. For more on today's stories and the latest breaking news, visit dallasnews.com. Enjoy your day, and I'll be back tomorrow with more from the Dallas Morning News.